big apartment.
In the parking lot of a West Side Indianapolis motel, police questioned two men.
At the end of the day, you are trying to rescue someone from a horrible situation.
Inside,
I'm going to run this gun.
FBI agents and police officers are in a room.
We're right outside the stairs.
It's a sting, an operation that reveals the dark underworld where wads of cash, illegal guns, and drugs are common.
Kid after kid after kid who's had their childhood stolen from them.
The goal here is to save children and return them to a life of innocence.
If you don't get them when they're young, it's going to be really hard.
Undercover IMPD vice officers search the web looking for teenage girls forced into prostitution.
The pimps advertise certain keywords that sometimes the Johns know what to look for. To be young, new, things of that nature.
Police are trying to reach these trafficked girls before it's too late. And at around 3 a.m. on a Monday, these two girls responded to a call from an undercover officer. Turns out they are 15-year-olds, 10th graders from Ben Davis High School. Investigators say these men drove them to the motel to be sold for sex after they met on Facebook.
It's just a pile of sadness to me.
They're becoming part of an alarming number of Central Indiana girls being sold for sex.
It's a vicious cycle, and it needs to stop at a young age.
So this is critical, what's going on.
This is critical because it's affected me and it's affected the rest of my family and it's affected my children.
This former prostitute was forced to have sex for money when she was just 16 years old.
At that moment in my life, nobody cared about me.
Her pimp was her own stepmother.
But this is the person who's supposed to love and protect you, and she's putting you out there and prostituting you.
She was making a lot of money off of me.
How much money?
She was making $300 a call to $500 a call then.
And how much money were you seeing of that?
Maybe 100 of it.
The money kept her going, but she was numb.
The typical call of intercourse or whatever, that I just got used to it.
At 16?
Yeah, I felt like I didn't have a choice.
That sense of despair is common. Many girls are broken and vulnerable. Many are runaways. FBI Supervisory Special Agent Mike Langeman has seen how pimps choose their victim.
You think about a 14, 15, 16, even 17-year-old girl on the street, she has no way of supporting herself. She can't rent a hotel room on her own. She can't rent a car. Getting a job without an address, so it becomes a matter of survival.
It's survival at any cost.
And the pimps that are out there are not overly smart people, but they are master manipulators, and they can identify the one thing in her life that she's missing and fill that void.
They don't go pick someone that's strong. They pick someone that's already broken, that has no self-esteem, that needs to be loved. And you're going to get that love any way you can.
They've got the two in that blue car.
Back at the West Side Motel, police questioned the alleged pimps of those 15-year-old girls. And the young victims, instead of being arrested, were taken by social workers to a group home to start the process of healing.
From the minute the investigation starts, our goal is to save as many of these kids as possible and to put these traffickers behind bars.
Shaughnessy Terrell is a Marion County deputy prosecutor. Her full-time job is dealing with human traffickers. Her caseload has grown by nearly 400% in the past 7 months.
And it's more and more every day.
It hasn't always been this way. The courts used to see a case of a trafficked child every 2 or 3 years.
Until a year ago, and suddenly there was this explosion.
26 cases, 26 girls, all victims of human trafficking. Some as young as 11 years old, some confined and physically abused, one held captive for 3 days.
These aren't kids from New York and Las Vegas and LA. These are Indianapolis girls, every single one of them.
A 15-year-old sold for $100 for 30 minutes of sex at this West Side motel. 25-year-old Taylor Miller was arrested and is expected to plead guilty to human trafficking of a minor, a girl he met on social media.
I think that there's a serious lack of awareness and a serious problem amongst parents not thinking that it could happen to their kids when it could.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, they are all meeting places. Eventually, the girls end up on Backpage.com, a website commonly used to advertise escorts. Judge Moores tells parents to keep close watch on their child's social media use.
You gotta pry. You have to pay attention. You have to be nosy. You have to ask. And once you ask, then you verify.
In order to prevent the damage already done to girls like these, the case against their alleged pimps is still under investigation. Stings like this work, but it's a snapshot of a much bigger problem.
It's beyond tragic because I can't fix it. I can't give them their childhood back. I can't have them unsee what they've seen and unexperience what they have experienced.
This woman has been there.
I heard constantly, God, you're beautiful and young. You're young and beautiful. That's pretty much all to it.
It's taken her nearly 30 years to leave a life she hated.
Now that I'm older, I can't be saved. I have to save myself, and that's where I'm at.
And as she does that, she's studying to become a social worker to help spare young girls what she was forced to endure.
If I can help one girl out there not have to go through what I've gone through in the past 3 decades, it's worth every bit of it.